Hey everyone, welcome back to another segment on the M&M Podcast. I'm your host, Manasi.
And this is Mare. And today we have a couple of guest stars. So if y'all would want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Gayatri.
Hey, I'm Muskan.
Hi, I'm Ananya.
Awesome, it's great to have you guys here. So this episode, we're going to be talking about something. It's a pretty significant issue right now. It's basically the beauty industry and beauty standards and how media is impacting the whole thing. So does anyone want to start us off?
Well, there's a lot of controversy and a lot of problems that come in the beauty industry with popularity and products with fraud and a lot more problems that are caused because of the fame and money that people get.
Because I feel like when you look at like models in general, I feel like obviously the beauty industry has become a lot more inclusive now, but there was a time not so long ago where it was mostly just, blonde hair, blue-eyed, like models. There are barely any like plus size models. There are barely any POC or LGBTQ representation in the modeling industry. And I feel like that's affected beauty standards because there's like, oh, this is what you need to look like to be beautiful, and like nothing else is really included.
Into like the expectations of beauty and the beauty standards that people have set already like a few years back or like decades back that still are here right now. And we are doing a lot to kind of bring it back into like more varieties and more like loosening of the standards kind of, but it's still a big problem and we're still taking a lot of time to solve it because the plus size models, the LGBTQ, and a lot more colored models as well are kind of looked down upon just because of minor issues, and they're not even issues. They're just minor expectations that people can't set.
Yeah, I definitely feel like because of the expectations and the trends that happened before, people are finding it harder to accept different kinds of beauty images and different kinds of features on people. And that is something that is definitely becoming more inclusive now, but there's still a long way to go.
I absolutely agree. And we definitely see this paralleled, on sites and social media and stuff, because these beauty standards, they're often like further enforced on these, websites like Instagram. People will scroll through their feed and, they'll see these gorgeous models. And a lot of the time there tends to be this kind of Eurocentric, that Eurocentric feature about them. So I think that even though we are getting better at being more inclusive and including different kinds of people and bringing in diversity, a lot of the time social media doesn't tend to make it too much better.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing with social media is most of the people using it are teenagers. And this is going to transition into like teenagers themselves feeling very insecure about their own look and their own personality, even because of what they see in social media and because of beauty trends and all the ideas that are shared there, people feel very insecure about who they are. Like I personally, I have seen like on TikTok, for example, a bunch of trends where people talk about their nose shape or their face symmetry and or their side profile. That's a big one. And people who feel like they don't have very good noses or side profiles are extremely insecure about that. And that creates an insecurity that they didn't have before. Like me personally, I never even considered side profile as a thing.
Yeah, and I feel like there's also been trends on social media that have been like kind of problematic, especially like about like beauty, because there was this fox eye trend recently, right? And it was, if you don't know, it was mocking people of Asian descent, like their eyes. And it's so normalized that it's like it kind of makes you feel like all of a sudden your traits and your ethnic traits are being like commercialized. And because of that, it also causes a lot of insecurity because it's like, oh, like it wasn't beautiful before, but now it's just like a thing to mock, and that's kind of like you know.
Okay, well, I agree with that because with beauty industry comes body shaming and a lot of more health problems, like for the modeling career. A lot of models have eating disorders and they get body shamed for an inch more hip than they have to or are supposed to have. And they get compared to other models, even though they're different ages, even though they're different sizes, and they get body shamed a lot just because of the expectations that the beauty industry and the modeling industry sets.
So even like the thing with body shaming, right? If you look at it internationally, the K-pop industry in particular, if you think about it, there's so much pressure for these K-pop idols to be this image that their company puts them to be. And a lot of them have severe eating disorders, and it's kind of like normalized. They always talk about like how, oh, I didn't eat for this week because we had, a song coming out or like a music video coming out. And I just think that's kind of like, it's sad that it's so normalized on it in an international scale as well.
And going off of that, like the audience for a lot of these groups are like young teenage girls, even children sometimes. So it kind of hurts my heart to see that, girls see this going on and they think, oh, this is supposed to be the new normal. I'm supposed to starve myself to look a certain way or be a certain way, or I'm supposed to bleach my skin or, modify my body, which is absolutely not the case. And I think that's what's so harmful about these standards, especially in the pop culture industry.
I feel like another thing young girls aren't totally aware of is like Photoshop and the amount like people edit their photos or models or just like artists in general. Like they're really affected because they don't understand that like you can make your like skin clear with your like with editing, and you can like make yourself look different, and they genuinely think that's how like models or like pop artists look like day to day.
Yeah, and like y'all should remember, like especially our viewers, most of the things you see on social media is not real. Like all these models, you might see people like on your feed who just look like amazing and their skin is clear and they look great, but those pictures go through a lot of editing, especially like those celebrity pictures. They're not always accurate in any way.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is everyone is very different, and not to be cliche or anything, but everyone is beautiful in their own way, and people should realize and understand that, and you shouldn't feel the need to be exactly like what someone else is or what someone else looks like, because they are not you, and like that shouldn't even be your standard of comparison, you know?
Exactly. And especially since beauty standards vary so widely, like someone who could be considered like absolutely stunning in the US and then go to another country like Iran and, just not fit that standard at all. So I think that this whole idea of beauty standards is really, it just doesn't exist. You're all gorgeous in your own way. Don't worry about what other people have to say. As long as you find beauty in yourself, you're set.
Yep.
This brings us or leads us into the topic of makeup and LGBTQ. Many people haven't accepted that LGBTQ concept. And a lot of them wear makeup and everything, and people bash them for it because they aren't men, or they aren't girls who are wearing makeup, and they're not men who are wearing shirts and pants and whatever that they're supposed to, instead wearing makeup. And that creates a lot of problems in this world because it's such a huge thing and it's so new that people are kind of coming into it very quickly, and it's creating a lot of problems. So yeah.
And then specifically like in terms of like LGBTQ, like here's the thing, right? I feel like sexuality and gender in general is just like such a broad spectrum of identities, and a lot of them really aren't they aren't accepted, because if you look at recently, I don't know if y'all know, but Harry Styles went on a Vogue cover, and Harry Styles is unlabeled, by the way, but he wore a dress and makeup, and he got bashed for it a lot, saying that, hey, this isn't masculine and you shouldn't be doing this. But like, what do we define as like masculinity or femininity, you know what I'm saying? Like, people should be able to have their own identities that transcend gender.
Absolutely. And it's really nice to have a positive force, especially one with such a, massive following. For Harry Styles to kind of put up with this much backlash and still go out and say, hey, this is my identity. This is how I'm going to dress. This is how I'm going to be. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and just breaking those boundaries. I think it's really nice to kind of have that force, because now there's going to be a lot of younger girls or younger guys and, just kids overall who are going to look up to him and be like, oh, like I can do that too.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I appreciate about this, about Harry Styles and what he's doing, because things like clothing and makeup should honestly be normalized for anyone expressing themselves however they want to. Because, I mean, if you really wanted to get into the technicality, makeup is just something to enhance your looks and make yourself feel better.
You're right, because like makeup in general, right? It was never marketed, because if you look at like history wise, a lot of people, you'd be surprised, like a lot of people way back when wore makeup. If you look at like back in history when men wore eyeliner to make their eyes look darker in a lot of civilizations, and it's not just like the United States. And I feel like it's weird that it's kind of like went from there to a place where it's like, oh, if you wear makeup, you are not a man, or like if you dress, boyish, you're not a woman,
Right, yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, right, I'm pretty sure when kings were getting their portraits done, I'm sure they told the painters, yo, make me look a little better. Cover up the acne, make my beard look more in line, stuff like that.
That was the OG Photoshop, honestly.
Yeah. But where I'm going with this is this should all be normalized. It's not something new, it's not a new concept, and it's not even that big of a deal if someone chooses to dress differently or wear makeup, because at the end of the day, they're just doing and presenting themselves the way they feel best, and that's the way it should be, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree a lot, because makeup is, a lot of people have said that makeup gives them confidence. So it's a way to, I guess, present yourself with more confidence, but you should focus on yourself naturally as well. So
Yeah, and that is all we had for this episode on, the whole beauty industry, beauty standards, and self-image. I hope that if you found any of that relatable, I hope this makes you feel a little better about yourself. Just remember that you should be yourself and don't compare yourself to what you see on social media or people around you, because you're beautiful the way you are.
And thank you so much to our guest stars today for joining us.
thank you. We were happy to be on here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Be sure to tune in every Friday for new episodes. Until next time.
Bye for now.